thank you so much for meeting with me. I'm very excited for the show. Just, starting off with the most basic of questions, can you tell us a little bit about your character in the show?
Sure. I play the role of Easter Ostaria, who is, an old goddess of the pagan ritual Easter, which is basically spring, the welcoming of spring and all of the beautiful things that the earth has to offer. And in short, I think that she's just a little pissed that Jesus has stepped on her special day, but she's definitely willing to share it. And one of the things that I love about this part and how they wrote it, is finding ways to stay relevant. I think, with this world of fantasy and reality and old versus new, it's such an interesting time to be alive even now. And it just kind of interwoven with, I think, 2017 and all these different worlds that we're living in. It's really fascinating.
Yeah. To that note specifically, well, I guess first I should say I hope you enjoyed your day yesterday, since we are recording this on Monday.
Of course I did. I sent the entire cast Easter baskets.
Aw,
So I hope they got them.
I hope they sent you something.
Oh, please. I don't need anything. It's my day to celebrate them.
There you go.
But I wouldn't hate it if someone sent me a chocolate bunny or something.
I'll talk to some of them later. I'll see if
Thank you.
I can work something out. Specifically with your character and how it relates to these ideas of old and new gods, how would you say that the show does in tackling faith specifically? Because you have this very interesting, co-opted Christian holiday with also these pagan rituals. What was that like?
Well, it's interesting because just in my own personal life, to be a person of faith and then to look at this world and, in some Christian views, that word pagan is very scary. But it really shouldn't be, because it really should just be ritual, tradition. All religion is built with tradition. And that's kind of the way I looked at it when I looked at the script. And I don't think Easter has anything against Jesus or any other. I think she just wants to, I think it's like, when you're an actress or something comes out the same day that you have something coming out, it's kind of like, damn, I wanted that day for this thing. But it's show business, and I think that's the way she kind of looks at it. It's, I have to share this day now with his resurrection. That really sucks.
Yeah. Right. Interestingly enough, I know that Jesus is actually a character in the show.
Yes.
So what was that like to play alongside Jesus?
Well, I've always wanted to meet him. It was pretty incredible. And we actually had several Jesuses. Brian Fuller and Michael Green are probably two of the most open-minded writers of today. And I love that because we have a vision of what Jesus looks like, right? But there's about 13 Jesuses in it, and all different kinds. And that's one of the things I appreciated, because things are not always, you can't judge a book by its cover. It suggests that Jesus didn't look exactly how we think he looked, although that character is also represented. So I was in a room, and it was pretty holy. It was fun.
Awesome. Very cool. So then to get a little bit more into the plot stuff, obviously without spoiling anything, how does your character fit into Mr. Wednesday's plan for this old gods, new gods struggle?
Very simply, so I don't get myself in trouble, I think it's basically him inviting her back into the fold. I mentioned staying relevant. I think Easter's politically correct. I think if there was a Miss America in this world, the way they've written it, she would be it. I think that he is saying, come with me and let's build our worlds back up. And that's where she comes in. And also, without giving it away, there's a moment that she does show. It's not just this facade, but she does show what magic and what power she has.
Yeah, very cool. To that point, I know that the show has some stunning visuals. So I was wondering, again, if there's any way to not spoil it. Do you get one of those great kind of visual sequences to show off that power?
Of course. Not only that, but in little ways too. She has, let's say, little minions that work for her. So you'll see them with her as well.
Are they chocolate bunnies?
I'm not gonna say.
Fair enough. And then last question, just to quickly wrap it up. If you could be the goddess of anything, what would you want to be the goddess of?
Oh, hair.
There you go. You could really help me out if you had that power. That'd be great.
Boom! Listen, most of this isn't mine, so we could help each other out.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Nice
This
to
was
meet you,
incredible.
John.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me. And then we're just going to start off with the most basic question. Can you tell us who your characters are in the show?
I'm Shadow Moon, and
I'm
Mr. Wentz.
Bilquis.
Wonderful. Oh, Shadow Moon and Bilquis.
Yeah.
That's some interesting double casting. I like
Yeah,
it. It's a very
yeah.
brave choice.
It's about acting and being versatile. So you want to, be able to.
Yeah, we tried to swap them, but no, they actually made us stay characters. Made me play Mr. Wednesday and made him play Shadow Moon.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
They didn't let you,
Furious.
orphan
They didn't let
blanket?
us go back and
But they
forth.
said
no.
he was so devious and mischievous and charismatic that you had to play Mr. Wednesday. I mean, he's basically you, and that I'm really broody and moody and don't say much. So I'm obviously Shadow.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I guess it all works out pretty well in the end then, huh?
Well, you've seen it, you know.
I have seen it, and it does turn out very well. I'm
Oh,
a big
thank
fan.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. So then, can you talk a little bit more about your character dynamic specifically, as you two share a lot of screen time together, and just how you two go about your business on the show?
Sure. I mean, Shadow is when we first meet him, he's just been released from prison. He's lost his wife, who is pretty much everything in his life. So he's broken, he's lost, he's empty. He's this empty vessel kind of just meandering through life on the way to his wife's funeral. He's got nothing really left to live for. He's a cynic, a non-believer. And then he's kind of taken under the wing of this mysterious con man in Mr. Wednesday.
Who you don't know who Wednesday is, well, you find out pretty quick. I mean, if you know your Norse mythology, you'll know who he is. But it's reveal upon reveal. I mean, why do I take him on? Why do I pick on Shadow to be my bodyguard, my protector, my driver, whatever? Because I need help, because I'm a small-time grifter, a con man, whatever. We're going across America, and I pick up this guy, an ex-con. He's not going to get another job, so that's what you think is going on, but it's not really what's going on.
Yeah, and then to that point, so since you are kind of trying to gather these forces for this conflict between the old gods and the new gods, can you talk a little bit about that very faith-centric journey that your character
Well,
has?
I think because Wednesday's just he's tired of the adoration of the new gods, which is the new technology. And what Gaiman, I think it's what Gaiman talks about in his book, is about, when America's a country of immigrants, people came here, they brought their gods with them, and those gods have gradually over the years been diminished. And it's, in terms of now we worship iPhones, we worship things that we have a sort of a tenuous connection with. There's nothing grounded in. And he's trying to get back to some kind of grounding. He's saying that if you don't believe, you'll lose faith in everything. So he's trying to get back to belief. And of course, he's just as capricious and as willful as the gods that he thinks are bad. But Wednesday's Wednesday, He just happens to be more charming than them. Am I right, Rick? Or not?
No, you're very
Thank you very much.
Fair enough. And then you described your character as kind of faithless coming out of prison. Can you talk a little bit about then your journey throughout the show and how hanging out with Mr. Wednesday kind of reinvigorates your faith?
Well, his struggle for the first season especially is kind of that he struggles to believe in anything. He has lost everything, and Mr. Wednesday is constantly telling him, look what's in front of your eyes. And it really is an awakening for Shadow in the first season. As an intelligent man, his first thought is always to go for a logical answer. So when he starts seeing all these fantastical elements, he can make excuses. He was high, he was imagining it, did it really happen? And so his struggle is not necessarily with Mr. Wednesday, it's more with himself. Is he going crazy? Mr. Wednesday says himself, is he going crazy, or is the world crazy? Is he actually seeing this? And that's going to be, his struggle for the first season is does he believe what's actually in front of his eyes?
Yeah, excellent. Very cool. So we're almost out of time. So last quick question. If you could be the god of anything, what would you want to be the god of?
I'm Mr. Wednesday. I don't have to answer that.
There you go. Fair enough.
You, Rick.
Fair enough.
There you go, Rick.
How's the god?
It was presumptuous of me to ask. I do apologize.
Absolutely, so you should.
I'd be the god of STARZ and announce season 2 straight away.
Very good, Rick.
There you go. Excellent.
You heard it hit first.
Ooh, exclusive. So right off the bat, just super basic question. Can you tell us a little bit about your characters?
All right. Oh, Yeah? Oh, okay, I'll go. I play Laura Moon, who is the wife of Shadow Moon, and she dies in episode 1 of the show. And then she's resurrected under sort of mysterious circumstances and, kind of is trying to find Shadow for the rest of the story, but she's, rapidly decaying. She's essentially an exhumed corpse, so...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it, really.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I love that description, by the way. I play Bilquis. She's an ancient goddess of love who is striving to find her relevance in the present day, which I always say if anyone has been online dating, you would understand how the goddess of love might be starving a little bit right now. And it's really interesting because she's this extraordinary character who is finding herself in ordinary circumstances and who is just trying to get by day to day like any of the other people around her who could have been potential worshipers.
Yeah. Both of you guys have very interesting, different kind of storylines that are centered around love, which is where you're trying to like find love from these worshipers again, and whereas you're trying to like sort of reconnect with this old love. So I was just wondering, like, how do you think the show does with tackling this idea of love and almost the faith that comes with love?
I think Laura's character, when she's alive, doesn't particularly understand what love is. I mean, she's found a husband because she sort of feels like that's what she's supposed to do, but she's not particularly happy in her life. And then she dies and realizes that death kind of didn't affect her, really. I mean, she's decomposing, sure. She probably smells pretty bad, but she's still there. And, once she doesn't have any of kind of that fear anymore, once you don't have to worry about death, you're kind of free. And she realizes that the thing that actually means something to her is love and is Shadow, essentially. And yeah, she was a kind of like a regular kind of wife, girlfriend character, these kind of like this boring character that we've seen a million times. I think Emma Thompson, there's a great interview with Emma Thompson where she talks about never wanting to play the character, like the woman that's saying to the man, don't go and do the brave thing. Which is so great, and I feel exactly the same way. So yeah, if Laura had been a character that was written like that, I don't think it would have been particularly interesting for me to play someone who was worse, like wanted to get her husband back. But I feel like the fact that Laura is this very difficult, kind of crass, incredibly selfish, completely not self-aware person makes her I think so. I mean,
I can't talk spoilers, but oh boy,
she was fun. She was a lot of fun, but I think it is interesting to see. I mean, she's probably the least loving character in the whole show, and yet that's what she's after. That's what she worships, is love.
Isn't that the thing, though, is that sometimes the least loving just need that much more love?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, I'm not saying that because I played Bilquis, the goddess of love, or anything. But no, as far as love and faith and belief, it's been really interesting diving into these characters because it's so relevant. I think we were just talking about that New York Times article where millennials.
Yeah, millennials. Why not? I like it.
Those guys are millennials.
Yeah, those millennials. Millennials were having less sex, and
because they're all on their phones.
Yeah, and there's less intimacy in general, and the idea of what is happening to intimacy and what is happening to love, and it's what would happen to a goddess of love in this time, and is she starving, and is she living off of empty calories, so to speak? Because I feel that there's so many things where you look around where different things are telling you that they're selling you love, but they're like an empty container of something that's supposed to be love, and you buy more and more and more of it, but you're still feeling empty. And so I think it's a really interesting discussion to have about what is happening to our intimacy, what is happening to our person-to-person connection, and I love that the show is asking that question.